Hey guys, welcome to Ghost Train Comics. Today we are looking at the incredible Coffinbound. This is the first collected volume, which is issues 1 through 4. Creative team on this is Watters, amazing Greek artist Dani, colorist Brad Simpson, and letterer extraordinaire Aditya Bidikar. Emma Price does design on this, which is something I always kind of point out because it's so important for the collected experience versus the individual issues. A lot of times it's the same person keeping that experience going from the monthlies through to the collected editions, which is nice, but it's not always, and certainly depending on what way they present the collected editions versus the monthlies, it is quite a different reading experience. In this case, Emma's really nailed it. So Coffinbound it's an experience. It's equal parts Shakespeare tragedy, Greek epic poem, 1980s indie comic, and Tarantino / guy Ritchie movie script. With characters as wild and outrageous as a man with a cage on his head and a skeletal vultures upper half, as well as supernatural assassins and strippers who can tear their skin off, it's a lot. It also throws readers in at the deep end, and so anyone who can't handle missing a couple of issues of Batman kicking somebody in the butt might not be suited for having to figure out everything that's going on here. But if you're willing to give it a chance, then you're my type of person, and I think you'll be rewarded with a very, very enriching and thoughtful experience. The art here is so beautiful and moody as it is unpredictable and quirky. A sensational artist, Dani, wants it to be able to show the full, rich world that Dan Watters is sharing with us. And Watters is nothing if not diverse, having done everything from Batman through Destro and over to the shared experience of The One Hand and the Six Fingers book that he did in association with Ram V's series that ran at the same time, and then in a fascinating confluence that collected both of them together as they dipped in and out of each other's storyline, but were two totally separate creative teams, obviously sharing same ideas, plots, the same world. Like Ram V, Watters is not afraid of keeping the readers hanging on for a while before revealing everything that's going on. At the end of the first issue, we know enough to keep being intrigued about central character Izzy and the cost of bonkers individuals and life forms populating this universe, but not quite having all of being intrigued about central character Izzy and the cast of bonkers individuals and life forms populating this universe, but not quite having all of the pieces to know exactly what is actually happening at every stage. It reminded me of Bodies in the first episode to a degree, as you're trying to figure out how everything fits. And also one of my favorite shows of all time, German TV masterpiece Dark. So similar experience to that. You may not understand everything as it's happening, but the information's going in, you're enjoying it, and it's an auditory and visual experience at every level. The comments by Ram V in his introduction to the collected edition, as well as the Beckett, Kafka, and the Ramones quotes, all point towards a mission of distilling meaning to its purest, rawest essence and editing away any and all bullshit. Interesting weaponization of communication in comics form, similar to what Tom King also does particularly well, like with the Mouseman storyline, where control via neuro-linguistic restrictions kind of stunts any rebellion or disagreement. It's kind of an exploration of authoritarian, usage of propaganda as a key weapon and sowing doubt in where you're getting your information from or who you can trust. Kind of undermine all of these fundamentals, and then you have a bunch of people who believe anything that you put once you put it in a sufficiently strident fashion. Tell them, no, it's okay, we got you, just trust in us, we're the only ones you can trust, etc. Watters removes anything superfluous, including audience-friendly exposition or dialogue. The interactions are pure and plot-driven, as is Izzy's mission to burn away her past and leave this plane of existence behind. Scenes with Cassandra and Tack are again slightly off-kilter and keeping us guessing about their past, their real identities. Cassandra as a gender-fluid being whose eyes were stolen, etc., is one to kind of wrap your head around. Polly Starlight appears to be a self-contradictory, weaponized poet, and the Earth Eater is more of a concept with a logo and a different tagline with every appearance than an actual character. Even Izzy is aware of the vagueness of some of the story, commenting on the vulture being with, "In truth, I wasn't sure if you were corporeal." To which they reply, "I am some things at some times and other things at other times." And of course, Izzy replies to that, "Aren't we all?" Ben is obsessively trying to reduce his physical surface area each time we hear from him. The ultimate germaphobe and insular post-COVID societal symbol. Polly Starlight as a poet, described in such disparaging, terrifying terms by Izzy, is extraordinary. The way that Izzy describes him to the vulture, even while still suspicious that the vulture was connected to him or the Earth Eater. There is a lot of that kind of unreliable narrative point of view, similar to what Moore plays with in Neonomicon and the Courtyard series. I love that the mystery is not resolved fully by the end of this volume. There is a volume 2 that's out now as well, which I'll be getting and following up with a review on. Whilst the main themes of body horror and body dysphoria are on full display here. The imperfect or fantastic creepy villain, and yet another imperfect self-loathing cult desperately searching for redemption and meaning in a world that's even more unsure than our own, but perhaps a little bit honest about acknowledging that facet of its own existence. Everything makes sense the further one reads it, even if there are still so many questions left, but this is sheer, joyful, bonkers, high concept, intentional artistry, pretentiously deep but without any shallow pretentiousness. Okay? I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Let me know what was the most interesting comics experience that you guys have had recently or ever if you're new to comics. But as always, would love to get you to subscribe so that you can keep up and you can let me know what you'd like to see next and what you've enjoyed on the channel. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time. Hope to see you again soon at Ghost Train Comics, and stay safe.